Coming to you live for the Built for Tough Studio. Boomer Science and Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are on the free Odyssey app. Good Wednesday morning. Interesting day yesterday, man. You had Woody Johnson taking on Justin Fields. You had Russell Wilson taking on Sean Payton. And some issues between those guys. And we also have the start of the New York Knicks season with the, as Boomer said, the winds of championship behind them. High expectations, a brand new head coach who has to get to the NBA Finals, and a roster that pushed the coach out. Every week that goes by, there's more and more stories about how it was the players that sold Tom Thibodeau out, and that's why Mike Brown is here. So a lot of pressure on them. So we'll get to all of it. The Islanders have won a couple games in a row, and the 18-year-old that's living with your daughter is doing very well. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jay. I'm doing all right. And, I have to tell you, I watched this basketball last night between Houston and OKC.
Did you?
I mean,
look at you.
I didn't watch all of it because it went into double overtime. I fell asleep. But I have to say, it's too bad every basketball game isn't like what last night was. Because last night was like Houston trying to tell OKC, okay, we're here.
We here?
We here, that's right.
Like Zoo?
And I got to tell you, Houston is a huge basketball team.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's like 6'7", 6'11". I mean, it's ridiculous. But I'll tell you, in the and I read this morning about the finish last night. It was insane. And OKC is still OKC. So there are two teams right there right
Thunder
now.
won, by the way, in double overtime, 125, 124.
There are two teams right there right now that I know are better than the Knicks.
Oh, come on. Stop it.
But the good news is that they play in the Western Conference, and let them battle it out. Because I do think the Knicks and the Cavaliers will be battling it out here in the Eastern Conference, and we're going to get up close and personal, get a chance to see the Cavaliers tonight and how good they look. And I'm telling you, this is the one thing I warn. This is the one thing I warn about the Knicks. There are winds of championship behind them, and there are huge expectations. I swear to God, if this coach becomes one of their buddies, as opposed to coaching them and holding them accountable, it could turn into one of those really Midland seasons, and it's going to be frustrating. So I hope that Mike Brown, I don't know him. I know about him, of course, and I've read about him, and I know where he's been. I know what he's done. But, the more and more I read, the more and more I get concerned about how he's going to handle the fellas, and hopefully he keeps them on a straight and narrow, that they're going to play defense and that they're all going to give a crap. Like these two teams last night showed. I mean, that basketball last night was about as high level as it gets.
Yeah, and it's funny you say the whole buddy thing. And the first year of Mike Brown is generally very good if you look back at his history. But as I'm driving home, BT and Sal played a soundbite from Matt Barnes, he's everywhere now. It was him and Steven Jackson on the All the Smoke podcast, and Matt Barnes did some stuff with ESPN. He's all over the place. He's like one of these voices now in the NBA. And I was going to tell CeeLo about it to go and get it at some point today. And we'll hear it, but I'll paraphrase for you. He basically said that Mike Brown is too concerned with being friends with the players.
All right, here we go.
And he's not a leader of men. Now,
well, he would know better than I do. No, I don't know the axe.
He played for him. No, he played for him.
Yeah, he may have an axe to grind.
Yeah, but that I don't like to hear that. Now, then again, we heard great things from Wally Zerbiak, who did play for him.
Yep.
We heard great things from Rick Pitino, who, although he loved it, he didn't want to see Tibbs going. He was very positive about Mike Brown and what Mike Brown could do with this roster. So those are two guys we really respect who are not going to lie to us about how they feel about the team. So there is that. But the Matt Barnes thing did not sound good because he basically stamped all the fears that you're talking about.
And that's what I got from reading about everything.
Yeah.
And this has kind of been, well, look, he's here. He's got a great job. He's got a great team. You'd like to think guys like Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart and the core of this basketball team really do care, and that's something that we all appreciated about this team. I watched Hartenstein last night, and it was like, man, we missed that guy. And we have been unable to replace him and all the little things that he did for this team when we fell in love with the team 2 years ago. So I just hope that things go well. I have very high hopes, and every Knicks fan should have high hopes. They spent a lot of money. They've refortified the roster. I think they're going to go deeper, and hopefully they're going to go faster. You know, that's the idea, I think, behind this.
Yeah.
That it's not going to be as, slowed down on offense, that it's going to be run and gun, and it's going to be getting up as many shots as you can get. And that's the interesting thing about, like, what Karl-Anthony Towns. We remember that piece we played yesterday from him.
Yeah, where he doesn't know how he fits in yet. Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I mean, the other thing, if you remember right after the season,
I'll tell you how he fits in. He may fit in out in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, when I heard that, the first thing I thought about was Giannis. It's the first thing I thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a thing until it's not a thing. I mean, it really is. He flat out said it himself, Giannis. It was been reported that the only team he would go and play for would be the Knicks. He loves New York. Yeah, I mean, if things are weird during the season for both of those teams, it's certainly still a possibility. I think the biggest thing for Mike Brown is getting the best out of Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, we talked about him in the postseason last year, and he's such a frustrating player. And, I was getting flack from Knicks fans for calling him a loser and a losing player, but I still felt that way and still feel that way because can be so dominant. He's so inconsistent. He's complaining to the officials all the time. He's out of control. His terrible fouls. I mean, these are all things that do not win championships. I'm sorry. Like, that type of behavior on the court is not going to get it done. So Mike Brown's main goal is to get the best out of the two guys, especially Karl-Anthony Towns, the two guys that came here last offseason. And that's Mikal Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns.
Well, Mikal Bridges, the second half of the season, figured it out. He got off to a really, really bad start.
Yeah, but you traded so many first-round picks for a better...
And you paid him, too.
A better play than what you got. Yeah. It's just... So those are the biggest things. And I remember, speaking of Rick Pitino, he came on the radio station and said that Karl-Anthony Towns needed to get in better shape. Now, I don't know if he's gotten into better shape. But he flat out said that's, how do you get the best out of Karl-Anthony Towns? It was like, well, he's got to get down to 2% body fat or whatever he said.
Oh, he's not going to be 2% body fat.
What I mean.
About 8% body fat. But, he needs to have a Luka Doncic offseason is what he has to have.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he has.
I don't know. We'll see. So the interesting thing is that if Mike Brown was brought in here to move the ball up and down the basketball court faster on the offensive side of things, the last thing you want is like a 6'11", overweight center jamming things up. I mean, you still need that guy because he's still very talented and he's still a big part of what they're trying to do. And when you hear him saying he's not sure where he fits in, that is concerning. Going into a season in which we all have really, really high expectations with this team, given that Halliburton's out, given that Tatum's out. These guys were daggers in the hearts of the Knicks for the last 3 or 4 years. So those guys are gone. Yeah, now is the time. Now you got to deal with Donovan Mitchell and you got to deal with the Cavaliers. That, to me, is going to be the team. Maybe a team like Orlando comes out of nowhere.
Well, remember, Detroit gave the Knicks a really, really tough series last year. I think Orlando's going to be better for sure. But the Knicks really have, the Cavaliers, it's a consensus that they are a good team and they're better than the Knicks on paper going into the season. But that doesn't mean that the Knicks can't be the number one overall seed in the Eastern Conference. And what they did in the offseason was all things that they set out to do outside of getting that veteran point guard they had talked about, because once they brought in Malcolm Brogdon, he ends up retiring out of nowhere.
Yeah, but he was done.
Yeah, but the point is, and I'm not saying that the point is that you just don't have anybody there now. Like you were trying to get Russell Westbrook. You were talking about Ben Simmons, which was crazy. You bring in Brogdon, he retires. That's one thing they weren't able to get done. But they upgraded the bench and they got a head coach in there that's going to massage the minutes in a different way than Tibbs did. And I'm going to tell you right now that because Precious isn't around and everything. Your new guy, I can guarantee it, is going to be Gershon Yabusele.
Yabusele.
You're going to love this guy. You're going to be Yabuing your ass off every morning.
All right.
You're going to say, I wish Yabu could hang around and put a Ranger jersey on and play for my hockey team, too, because this guy every night is out there making an impact.
Okay.
You're going to love this guy. Right. So you got Jordan Clarkson, you got Yabu. These are guys that are going to be huge parts of this team. And once again, it's the core. It's these guys. It's Jalen Brunson. It's Josh Hart. It's Karl-Anthony Towns. It's Mikal Bridges. It's Mitchell Robinson. Especially Bridges and Towns. And if Karl-Anthony Towns finally takes his game from that 85, 90% that it's been and gets the full 100% out of himself, then the Knicks are going to win a championship. That's how talented he is. I just don't know if he's capable of that.
If he's truly a winning player.
That's right.
Like he's raising the level of everybody around him, and he's doing everything that the coach is asking of him.
Yeah, is he laying on the ground complaining to the official that he didn't get a call, or is he getting his ass up and he's running back and he's playing defense, and then in the timeouts he's inspiring and he's not, bitching and moaning about something? And is he getting some sloppy foul and has to sit on the bench because he's got 2 fouls in 6 minutes? Or is he playing smart basketball and doing all the things we know he can do?
I do know this, and I think you probably know this as well, just as being New York sports fans. That guy has got a lot of pressure on him. He has got a lot of pressure to deliver. And Knick fans want to love him. Knick fans really want to support him. But he's the guy that's got to deliver. I mean, because Jalen Brunson has delivered. Josh Hart has delivered. Mitchell Robinson, when he's healthy, has delivered. Most of these guys that have been here, we all feel like it's been a really good put-together team and roster. Then you bring in the 2 players from last year, and then you bring in some players this year. But those 2 players from last year, especially Karl-Anthony Towns, especially after what happened in the playoffs and the way that he was perceived, the perception of him and the zestiness and the screaming for the fouls and all this other crap, I mean, that's still in the forefront of the minds of the Knicks fan. So that guy has got a ton of pressure on him to perform.
Well, yeah.
And that's the only reason I say that, if it's Giannis, it's Giannis. If it's not, it's because he has taken his game to that next 10% level that you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, and he was the Knicks made it clear that they went all in. And they were waiting, and they used all the picks on Mikal Bridges, and they used their other assets to trade for Karl-Anthony Towns, and these were going to be the guys that added to the current roster that was going to win them a championship. And we did not see what we wanted to see in the postseason to the degree in which we needed to see it. But this year, it's almost scary because of what we just went through. With the Mets and and then they get Soto and blah, 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 and then they have this disastrous season. But, I mean, it is set up for them, if they reach their potential, it is set up for them to be right there in the NBA Finals discussion, just like they were last year. They have to take another step, and they've fortified the bench. They've changed the coach. This is NBA Finals or bust. That's it. There is nothing acceptable other than an Eastern Conference championship for this group.
I'm thinking I got another guy, too, on this team.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who we talking about?
Porty.
You're a Huck Porty guy, huh?
Yeah.
So
he's like one of those little under-the-radar guys.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Why not?
Why not is right.
Get in there. I want that second group to come in, and I want them to beat up the other team.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
I want them to be like the 4th line.
Well, that's why I think you're going to love Yabu.
Good. I like it. I want to see some intensity.
Damn right. And I think they hopefully have the right mix of offensive finesse and never going into a scoring drought, and also that edge that you need on defense, and we're not a pushover group. I mean, that's really what you need. I mean, that's what the Boston Celtics, when they were healthy, were exactly that. They had guys who were hitting threes all over the place, but they also had hard-nosed guys, rather, like Jason Tatum's a guy, chip on his shoulder. He's not getting pushed around. Guy like Al Horford, a veteran presence there. You're not pushing us around. Like, that's the type of team that wins in the NBA these days.
Well, watching this game last night between these two teams, Those two teams right now, I think, are the best two teams in the NBA. Last night's opener.
Well, I mean, I'm not ready to crown the Rockets yet. I mean,
I'm telling you, man, that was a hell of a game.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. But one team obviously is a defending NBA champion, so the hats off to them with the reigning MVP. But we'll see, what problems Kevin Durant brings to this particular team and where he ends up maybe at the trade deadline, where he ends up on another basketball team.
Signing another extension.
Yeah, right, exactly. All right, Boomer and Gio just getting started on this Wednesday morning. CeeLo is in. Jerry's out for the rest of the week. So we'll have a CeeLo update coming up in just a couple of minutes, and he'll tell you how to buy some Bitcoin as well.